Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Blockchain for All 2023. I'm excited to have everyone on board and everyone joining us this year again for this wonderful edition of Blockchain for All, where we bring experts from different fields to come and teach about blockchain and use cases. This year is not going to be an exception, just like last year's edition, where we had wonderful speakers from different fields coming to talk about blockchain experiences and how we can all make use of it. It was a wonderful year. We had 2022 for Blockchain for All. We had over 10,000 viewers. And this year we have returned to ensure that, okay, this program becomes better. And we have come back with wonderful speakers that will be talking on different topics for today. I'll be very happy to indulge everyone to actually share this to your friends, share the links to your group, your community, because this is going to be an exciting moment. It's going to be an eye opener for everyone to understand what blockchain is and the opportunities it presents to us. From our sponsors, we are very grateful. Benia Group, Big Conta, Hebron Academy, and other sponsors that have been coming in to support this particular program. We want to appreciate you and we don't take this for granted. So, for our viewers, I want to thank you everyone for following up with us. Thank you for taking all the instructions from last year's event. And we have seen a lot of testimonies from people that have joined this event last year on how they have been able to benefit from the blockchain and cryptocurrencies as well. Okay, so today we have a wonderful speaker. He was around with us last year. Um, he's an expert in blockchain and full stack developer. He has worked in different fields in the tech and he has helped build different products from financial products to blockchain applications here in Nigeria. And he's a graduate of Foodpina. And this wonderful person has helped taught a lot of Nigerians how to program and manage their finances. He runs an academy and that has to do with training youth. And I'm so excited to introduce Mr. Orji Joseph today. He'll be talking about a wonderful topic that I always like throwing this topic to him because of his level of expertise and how I see the love and passion he has for helping youth to grow. So Mr. Orji will be talking about the job opportunities and the advantages of what blockchain presents to us. And join me as I bring on board Mr. Joseph Orji. Mr. Joseph Orji, thank you very much for joining us today. We want to appreciate all your work you have been doing throughout last year. We have worked on several projects even after Blockchain for All. And I'm so excited because your last video, we had a lot of engagement, we had a lot of viewers coming in to testify from those advices you give. I could remember one of the advice you said, even someone that can plait hair, the blockchain has provided opportunity for cleaners, for barbers, and everybody. And we have seen how a lot of people have used such advices to know that blockchain is available for everybody, it's not segmented for a few. So today we are here again because I know there are more opportunities with the issue of AI and a lot of things that have come up just 365 days from your last event or so. I believe there's more to what you want to share with us today on this same topic because I understand the passion you have for seeing you grow in this country. And welcome. So, Mr. Oti, kindly maybe introduce yourself better. Maybe I've not done much to it. You tell our viewers who you are and um, yeah. So, welcome once more.
Good evening, everyone. I am assuming that my voice is audible enough, and just of course you have done justice to the introduction. There's nothing else to add. I'm just Orji Joseph. I'm a senior front end engineer, and I'm a blockchain enthusiast, right? So I've been working on in the blockchain industry for over 4 years right now. We'll be able to build some couple of projects that are live right now. So I'm always happy whenever they say, let's go and win people for Christ, right? So I'm always happy to be here to share my little experiences and understanding about what the blockchain can do for you in terms of the advantages it can do. So, yeah, I'm glad to be with you tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Jaffet.
All right, so thank you very much. As I'm always smiling and happy to share knowledge. I know today is going to be an epic moment. To go quickly, we understand that a lot of you want yes, you are a front-end developer, you have gone through the phases of learning and a lot. First of all, we just want to understand how was your learning process? How was it? Was it very easy? Did you learn? Did you got a professor from Harvard to teach you programming or whatever? Or was the education system that favorable? Because people need to understand where we are coming from, so that they understand maybe you got it so easy, or there were some hurdles you had to cross through before you were able to learn this skill, so that when you proceed to start giving advice, people understand that you're coming from the point of experience and they're able to connect.
Yeah.
So give us a brief introduction of maybe how you're able to come up to the stage of understanding how to program and
Okay. Before I narrow it down specifically to blockchain learning curve, um, learning programming, of course, first of all, you have to have a passion for it. You have to really have a deep passion in, trying to solve problem by, writing computer codes, right? So it has always been a burning passion in my heart from even when I was a very, very young boy out there in the street. So, and again, that's one step. The passion has to be there. It's not just you saying, okay, everybody's making money. I just want to do this because I also want to make money. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So you have to have the passion to do it. That's the first thing. Then you have to ask yourself some critical questions like, now I have the passion to do it. What are the particular steps do I need to take? Now, one of the biggest steps in every field you have is also getting to make friends and go close to people that have already, been in that field at which you are, aspiring to go to. Because of course, no man is an island. You always need people's guidance to get some specific kind of knowledge. And I think the third thing that works for me too is curiosity. Curiosity is it's a very strong point that every top people in the world have. They're always curious about the next step, right? So they're always asking important, critical questions. Now, what can I do to improve myself on a daily basis? So you keep asking yourself critical questions. Some of us, some people enjoy, asking themselves questions that probably are good to their soul. But if you're not critical with your question in terms of your level of improvement, you might end up not doing the best you could do, right? So on a daily basis, I was always asking myself critical question: what was I able to do well yesterday? What do I need to improve today? So, and luckily for me, I have a lot of friends that are also into what I want to do, right? So I try to, make sure that I make friends with people that are like mind with me, right? So the people that wants to get to where I want to get to, or people that have always that has already been to where I want to be. So I kept learning, kept asking important questions, doing personal research on myself. And again, you have to be extremely, extremely ambitious, right? You have to have this mindset like, I want to be the best I could be. I just don't want to be a local champion. I just don't want to be hailed around my vicinity. I want to be recognized international wise. So if you know these are your ambition, then you have to work for it. Everything comes with work, right? So you ask yourself a question, then you put in the works, right? So it's not always good enough to talk. Actions, they say, speaks louder than words. So when you ask yourself critical question, you put your hands down, you do the work it requires, you make the research, learn that stuff that you need to learn. There's nothing that is invisible, there's nothing that is magical, right? Everything people do today, they learn from somewhere or from somebody. So you just have to ask yourself a critical question: what do I need to learn today? What did I learn yesterday? What do I need to improve? Then you take the 2 steps here and there. Before you know it, you're already, you're halfway to where you want to be. And of course, learning is a continuous process. You just keep learning, like just keep learning on a daily basis. So the biggest thing for me is just keep learning, and you always get better. Yeah, thank you.
all right. So thank you very much for that. I understand the aspect of it was not really easy for passion and yourself to keen with people that understand this stuff and learn gradually. So I believe it will be a motivation for everyone that's finding it difficult. That just take time and you have to be passionate about it, because the challenges will come, but if you are able to actually hold on your ground, definitely
Yeah.
results will come at the end of it. So, thank you very much for letting us know that you went through the Nigerian normal way, Nigeria system. Everybody goes through that same process, but the ability to be
Yeah.
able to come out fine. All right, so a lot of us want to, yes, we know there are opportunities out there. So, looking at the entire blockchain space, what's your take about it? How do you see it transforming business? Because it has to come to do the transformation, then we begin to see a lot of opportunities. Now, some people take opportunities earlier, and some people wait on adoption comes in. So, how do you see, before we even go deep, how do you see blockchain technology taking over or improving businesses?
E- yeah, that's an important discussion. I want to say this on here, right here, right now. I hope I will not get into trouble with what I want to say right now, but I will have to say it. I want to let you know that even the traditional banks out there are already, you know, they are already panicking that they are going to go off market very soon if they keep doing what they are doing. I wanted to start this whole discussion by just putting up that note because I want people to understand the importance of blockchain right now, right? So, um, we cannot start overemphasizing it. Some people feels like maybe it's a marketing gimmicks when we say blockchain is taking over. No, it's not actually a marketing gimmicks, right? Because the whole essence of blockchain, people don't really tell you the main essence of blockchain. The whole essence of blockchain is for it to limit you being able to doing traditional transactions. What do I mean by traditional transactions? Blockchains want you to govern your own transaction, which is what traditional transaction doesn't give you, right? So traditional transaction, you have to follow through a third party system, which is the legal system to be able to make your transaction. And the traditional market of performing transaction right now, I've already discovered that if we continue this way, we're going to be losing our customer because the world is absolutely digital. It's not We are no longer in the stage where we say the world is going digital. No, the world is absolutely digital right now. So, and for you to be able to compete in the digital market, you have to be absolutely knowledgeable on the blockchain system because that's the whole essence of digitalization. So what blockchain brings to you is the ability to perform your transaction in the digital platforms, right? So at the end of the day, blockchain is not just I don't the people look at it that it's a place where you go to trade coins. No, it's not absolutely a place where you go to trade coins. The whole essence of blockchain is if I have data A and you have data B, we can't be able to exchange data A with data B as long as you are ready to do that exchange for me. When we started the whole transactional system in the olden days, what do they do? Initially, they were transacting beans for cassava, right? Some people were transacting yam for rice, right? So it kept evolving, right? So it kept evolving where people started transacting cowries for cassava, some were transacting cowries for rice, right? So it kept evolving while people now started adopting the essence of transacting money for services, money for goods, money for shelter, money for comfort, right? So this means of transaction kept evolving at a point where people also started embracing the ability to be able to send digital figures, right? When you have 2,000 naira in your bank account, you can be able to send it to Michael that is in Ajokuta. You can send Michael that is in Kaduna 3,000 naira that is also and Michael feels like he is rich, right? Because the money he can feel the figures in his accounts. It's not like he has a physical naira or a physical dollar that he's holding in his hand, but because he feels that, oh, I have a digital wallet and that wallet is showing a particular amount, so I'm rich. So people start adopting that means of transaction. So people start holding less money, that's less physical currency, and people start embracing more of digital currency, right? These days, arm robbers doesn't go into houses to rob anymore because when you go into people's houses, you're not going to find money there. People don't keep money anymore in the houses. So I want you to see the trend that which is going, right. So they will get to a point now where people start embracing what we call cashless policy, right? A lot of people are going through their daily businesses, their daily activities without having cash in their hands. So it happens. So another phase which we are already in. It's not like we're going in now. Is the decentralized chain, right? Which is where the blockchain comes in, where people start doing personal transaction without no third party regulatory system blocking them from doing those transactions. I want to be able to make a transaction with Amechi without any government telling me the fees to pay, the amount to pay to Amechi, and the amount not to pay to Amechi. This is my money, right? I want to do those transactions. So blockchain has come to stay. It is only the people that doesn't understand the whole importance of blockchain that thinks maybe it's a Ponzi scheme, maybe it's a way to blockchain. The whole essence of blockchain is not necessary for you to put in $2 and be able to withdraw $10. No, that's not the whole essence. The whole essence of blockchain. The whole essence of blockchain is for you to be able to make your transactions seamlessly, right? For you to be able to purchase your items seamlessly. That was why the invention of NFT came into play. In the version of these days, you will see, you go to e-commerce application, they'll give you two options: either you pay with the block with your digital asset, or you pay with your centralized asset, be it dollar or naira or whichever currency you're working with. So we'll get to a point where we're no longer giving you that option. We're only giving you the option of paying with your digital asset, because that's where the world is right now. So it's not even a point where you are seeing it as an option. It's now becoming a mandatory stuff. I remember while we were still in school, when you are still in school, rather, they will probably tell you that the best course to study is medicine, is law, is mechanical engineer. Of course, those courses are amazing course, right? But right now, you can agree with me that absolutely, if you are not technically inclined in terms of what is happening in the tech industry, you will struggle to find a job right now all over the global world, right? So that is how the world is evolving. You have to understand the system that governs the world right now. And the system that governs the world right now is partially working with the decentralized payment or transactional system, which is where blockchain comes in. So you don't have any choice than to embrace it, or else, like people used to say, AI is taking over. AI is not taking over. What is going to take over your job is the blockchain industry if you don't pay attention to the numerous opportunities you get towards it. We don't have so much time. I could talk and talk about this, but for now, I'll just have to rest on this particular question and just
Uh,
continue on the next question.
so thank you very much. I will just note for that, I've got to understand that really there's a lot that the blockchain has come to do, and that's why we're having this. Because we need to understand it's not just about going into trade and make money. So it's a system that has come to improve almost every system out there. And so we just need to understand about going about not just about trading or not just about for me to just go and make money, but it's about making life better. So thank you for giving us a good understanding of how. So a lot of us now that are joining this is because we want to understand. Okay, if for our viewers watching, please you can share your comments, you can share your opinion on any kind of you are watching. If you are watching from YouTube, from LinkedIn, Facebook, you can make a comment, and we are going to also share it live for wherever you're watching, regardless of which platform. If you're watching from Facebook, you can do your comment from there. If you're watching from LinkedIn, you can do a comment from there, or anyone. All the platforms we have shared. So anywhere you're watching from, please just make your comment, and the speaker will definitely see. So thank you very much. Personally, I think more than 80% of people that will be watching this program are youth that are into or with the curiosity of want to know, okay, the blockchain, how can blockchain, because the moment you talk blockchain, the next thing people start shouting about is cryptocurrency. And if I don't understand cryptocurrency, is it that there's nothing I can do again? So I want to because we have opportunity and job that is out there for us youth, or even some people that are already in their late 50s or 60s. What opportunities do we all have actually embrace the blockchain? Because there needs to be something that it has to do for me, that I need to understand that it can improve it. So somebody from the bank might not know what that happening until he said, oh, this is what blockchain is coming to do, and he jumps into it. Just like the way a lot of us have been joking around AI, and we have been seeing how it has been going from writers, video editors. It has just been going over and over again. So people are beginning to, oh, this is what the AI is all about. So we need to just understand what are the opportunities out there for all these organizations so that we can be able to benefit from the blockchain.
Yeah, thank you extremely very much for that question because I've actually been longing for that question. But I know when I was explaining, I was saying a lot of things about transaction, and I was very careful not to use the word money. I was extremely careful. I was I deliberately don't want to use the word money because I don't want people to just see blockchain as a means of either gaining money or losing money, which is what almost most or probably 80% of the people that are new or using the blockchain are seeing it like a means of making money or losing money or whatever it does for you, right? So I will just even divert away from the financial sector. I want you to look at blockchain as communication sector, right? Now, what blockchain does is like blockchain is saying, hey, block A, or let me say, Mr. A, you want to have a communication system with Mr. B. I want your communication system to be secure between Mr. A and Mr. B. So whatever you want to do, if you want to sell a particular product to Mr. A, I want it to be an agreement between Mr. A and Mr. B without any third party, becoming a broker or becoming a signatory or becoming an eavesdropper, if I can use that language, between Mr. A and Mr. B. So what do I mean by that? So if you are in absolutely any sector entirely, take for an example, you are in an agricultural sector. How does blockchain becomes useful to you as somebody who is in an agricultural sector? It's simple, right? So let's assume you're making production of crops, right? You are into production of crops. Let's say you're into production of tomatoes, right? And you want to reach audiences. You want to reach people to buy your tomatoes, and you want to have these personal communications with your audiences, right? So you can leverage on the blockchain technology and have your transaction discussion with person A and person B and person C without person A and person B and person C having any kind of knowledge of the conversation you had with person C. So the whole idea of the blockchain technology is to make your transactions seamless, right? So if you're selling your materials online, we want you to be able to have that seamless communication with your seller without being afraid of security breaches, without being afraid that this transaction I'm about to broadcast. So there's somebody in the middle that is trying to also understand this transaction I'm trying to block, right? So whatever sector you are into, right? The whole essence of business is communication. The whole essence of business is what transactions, right? You want to be able to have a sort of agreement with whoever you are selling to or whoever is buying whatever you are selling. So whatever you are doing, that you are providing values, right? You have to absolutely determine what ways do I have to communicate with my buyers or my sellers, as the case may be. And when you make up that mind, you now choose what way do I collect money. Take for an example, let me give you a very use case scenario. Take for example, you're selling your cassava here in Nigeria. And look at how blockchain can be extremely important to you. Right? If you need to transport cassava to China, of course, you have to follow through the Nigeria government system. You have to follow through the bordering system. You have to follow all through the legal process because you cannot do those transfer without a third party taking being aware of those transactions and detecting what you do on those transactions. And in fact, in most cases, you have to pay an extremely very high fees to perform those transactions. But take for an example, if you leverage on the blockchain network, we know that one USDT, which is one of the coins, right, which is one of the legal terms that you could use on the blockchain network. If you leverage on blockchain network, you can easily say Yung Hon, right? Yung Hon that lives in China that wants to buy your cassava. Maybe you have like 50 bags of cassava or 60 bags of cassava you want to sell to Yung Hon, and Yung Hon has a secured blockchain platform at which he can communicate with you. He can easily sell your cassava to Yuhon and transport your cassava to Yuhon, and Yuhon pays you directly to your blockchain account. So you have a transaction that you perform between a China person and you being a Nigeria without going through a third party scrutiny and a third party processes that might sometimes might be tedious, and sometimes even your own that lives in China will not even want to perform those transactions with you, right? So when you leverage on blockchain, it makes that's what we always saying, right? It gives you the ability to own your finance, it gives you the ability to own your transactions, it gives you the ability to own your conversation, which is one of the biggest criteria for any business person there. I want to own my conversation. I don't want somebody to leverage on whatever I want to do as a business person, right? Except I want that to happen. So blockchain is saying, why can't people create blogs and have this communication between themselves? Why do I need to come in there? So whatever you do as a business person, like I said, it's not even upcoming, it's already here. It will get to a time where the world will adopt the only or single means of communication because of the internet security breach that is happening here and there. You hear this thing has been hacked, the other thing has been hacked. You get to a time where people will say, okay, I want all my communication online to be a single source of communication. And what do I mean by a single source of communication? You own your blocks of communication, and the other person, the recipient, owns his or her block of communication, and both of you have this communication. So whatever field you are, whether you're in the agricultural sector, whether you're in the banking sector, whether you are in the political sector, whatever field you communicate. For take for example, let me even look at the political sector right now. Just imagine if the just concluded Nigeria election was done on the blockchain network. I bet you that 92% of Nigerians would have taken the results with their whole chest, right? They would have, okay, we could beat our chest and say, oh, okay, what's the data that was collected was, you know, we could say, okay, it was sort of secured. I don't like using the word 100% secured, right? But we could say that the data that was collected was sort of secured and people can trust these processes, right? So this is where the world is going. So there's so numerous job opportunity. You can start thinking of, okay, how do I get into blockchain? Do I need to be a developer to get into blockchain? That's fantastic. If you can be a blockchain developer, that's amazing. But you just don't need to be a developer to get into the blockchain. There are several ways you could get into blockchain. You can get into blockchain as a developer. You can get into blockchain as an educator. You can get into blockchain as a trader. You can get into blockchain as a marketer, as an analyst, as a business personnel, which is what I've been spending a lot of time trying to discuss, right? So you can collect your whole transaction on what. So if you're in the data analyst field, blockchain is the next part for you to go, not even AI. If you are in the agricultural sector, blockchain is the next part for you to go. If you're in the engineering sector, blockchain is the next part for you. So whatever you are as a profession, right? Whatever you do as a profession, you just need to understand first and foremost that this is what blockchain offers you, and you think on how to what use that your understanding to provide values to people. Sorry, let me just add this one more thing, Mr. Jaffet. I know a lot of people on TikTok today, all they do is to educate people on the blockchain ecosystem, and they have about 50,000 followers. They have a YouTube channel. What happens when you have viewers on the YouTube channel? You get paid in dollars. So you have to understand this knowledge and understand how to use it to create values in the society. And once you do that, so many opportunities await you. Thank you very much, Mr. Joffet. I know I've taken a lot of time on this
All right. So,
particular question.
no, no, this is a beautiful one. So thank you very much. I think it's well understood. There are different ways of and that way you take it's not just for the money you call in transaction, and transaction can come in different forms, in
Yeah.
communication, to business, for business, or whatever. And the use case that matters a lot here. And so what you
Yeah.
are trying to say is that everybody can be is inclusive, everybody is included, it's not gender biased, everybody is not business biased or business oriented. And blockchain has come to be a neutral platform for everyone to operate and use something that is very we're
Absolutely.
seeing a lot of adoption, yes, and because of the qualities of the blockchain, or the characteristics of the blockchain, that's what is giving a lot of trust. Businesses are beginning to trust it because we have been having a lot of challenges. So we're seeing a lot of adoption coming up gradually. But I want to just maybe you give us a good. I know you have seen how the adoption is coming. How do you see the adoption of blockchain and its use cases here in Nigeria? And what do you think government or the private sector can do? Most times what I found out is we come to a point where we're just consumers in this country. Yes, we have been having a lot of challenges. But how do you see the adoption coming? Yes, yeah, they will say Nigerians is one of, if not the number one in blockchain adoption of use case, blockchain or Bitcoin. But how do you see that really affecting the recent of adoption? Because the use case has to do with, do we have a lot of startups? Do we have a lot of Nigerians? If I were even going to the banking sector, we have less than, I think less than 33% that are banked. So more than 100 and something million Nigerians are unbanked. That's just for the centralized system. That a lot of developed countries are going beyond that. Like they're not even looking at how many people are unbanked. They are looking at how many people are even using some advanced level of payment. But in this country now, wonder how many they're talking about 3% of people that are banked, that are having less than even 500,000 naira in their account. So when we're talking of blockchain now, so how do we, it's not, yes, we know a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people in transactions. It might be a few percent of people that are doing that huge amount. You understand? Yes, we're not going to target because of the fraud and the volume that high. But how do you see the recent of adoption? Because this is a technology. And how do you see it from government policies? How do you see it affecting the adoption? And what do you think can be done to that? Because it's very important. I know people from the government sector are also looking at that, and private sector are also here to understand this concept. So kindly just share your knowledge on that. I think please.
Thank you extremely very much. Now, I like this question because I love question that involve statistics, right? You said something very interesting in your question right now, which is the percentage of people that have 500,000 naira and below as a Nigerian. Now, that shows you how much people hate to keep naira in their accounts. That is just the truth. It's not like people don't have money. Of course, we have a lot, a very wide percentage of people that's living below average in Nigeria. But it's not like the definition of money. Like I'm not talking about the paper, what is written in numbers. But it's not like people don't have money, but people don't like converting it and living it as a centralized currency, right? Which makes people holding naira very low in terms of the volume at which they are holding. So what am I saying? One of the biggest reason Nigeria, right, has not adopted crypto in full or blockchain in full for a while now is political reasons. We all know that for real, right? We all know that the whole bad PR started coming up when there was an alleged use of digital currency to sponsor some sort of people for protest and all that. So we all know the story. So now, if you imagine the Nigeria fiscal currency and you imagine the percentage of Nigerians holding digital assets, now imagine if it's a process that is allowed to legally thrive in Nigeria. Now imagine how much will Nigerians how much will Nigerians generate for the government as a whole in terms of what do they call this? In terms of money generation for the country, right? I've forgotten the technical word to call it, but you can imagine if someone, take for example, if I have like 5,000 USDT in my wallet, and I know that I can be able, there's a wide adoption of USDT in Nigeria, I don't have to struggle to spend my USDT. I want to go to Cubana Club, right? And instead of wiping away nairas everywhere and here, I want to get to buy my whatever I want to eat at that place that night and say how much it might be. Your bill is 2,000 USDT, and I pay, right? So the VAT of that transaction, the VAT of that business is being subtracted from all that transaction, right? So if Nigeria is one of the biggest, because I like people, I like thinking business wise. If you look at the numbers is telling you that Nigerians are one of the biggest people that have adopted blockchain, and not just blockchain, but digital assets. If you know that your indigens or your citizens are holding on to digital asset as a legal tender, every government should be able to ask themselves this very, very important question: how do I take a share of that digital asset that my indigens or citizens are holding and convert it into VAT, right? These people are holding, you already know the statistics. You know that in terms of their physical currency, in terms of their this centralized currency, they have less than 500K in their account. The question we should be asking ourselves in the country: where is this other money? Where are they holding this other money? If there's a place they are holding this other money, how do we create value added tax for this other money they are holding, right? So for a country like Nigeria, where its citizen is big player in the crypto industry, one, you could have provided a lot of job opportunities via job creations for people that will have crypto or digital enabled platforms. You could have provided you know a lot of employment opportunities. Take for an example, if we have like 50 to 60 blockchain backed up industry in Nigeria, and each of those companies are probably 5,000 employers of labor. That's job creations for people to work on. This thing has come to stay, right? There has not been a particular single country that have entirely given a good reason why blockchain shouldn't exist, right? Everybody that probably have created a bad PR in the future or in the past about it has always based it on a political reason. Why? Because they don't want their means of generating money to go off or to go obsolete in the market. So if we as a country start looking at, this is the place my citizens are holding their assets, or this is one of the place my citizens are holding their assets, how do we collect that particular assets and use it to generate more assets and use it to create more job and use it to make more money for the country? If we are one of the biggest player of the blockchain industry in the world, that's a strength for Nigerians as a whole. That means other countries will be leveraging on us in that sector. So we have a lot of sector that can serve as a foreign exchange for us as a country, but most times we leverage on the traditional sector, which we all know, maybe the agricultural or the petroleum sector, right? But we have this sector where the world knows that Nigerians are big player in it. If we have a lot of companies that are doing businesses on this particular sector where we have a lot of Nigerians being a big player on it, that generates jobs, right? Which is what people are looking at for. That generates more income, that generates employment opportunities, that generates value added taxes for government. I used to be Cubana, it could be anything. It could be just a Mecca supermarket out there. It could just be Tochuku fashion shop where you could go to. And if there's a wide adoption of blockchain, I can go to Tochuku shop and say, Tochuku, I need a pair of jeans, I need a pair of t-shirt. And he asked me, what's your mode of payment? Please, I have a USDT in my account. I need to use the USDT. So because if there's a wide adoption, I can easily pay Tochuku with USDT, and whatever added VAT that is going to come out of there, Tochuku government gains from it. So it's so simple, right? It's so simple. The advantages of adopting blockchain is too overwhelming for any up and doing government to understand. It's not even technical. It's a simple mathematics. If your citizen has a wide adoption of a particular ecosystem or a particular industry. What you as a government should think of is how do we leverage on what our citizen has a wide adoption for, make it better, and generate more income and more sustainability in terms of well-being of my people, not the other way around, right? So I just hope one day we'll have a very good and intelligent government in the country that will see more of an advantage in terms of the people and not more of a selfish reason. Like I said before, the whole explanation that the whole essence why the government of the country created a bad PR about the blockchain technology is because they thought certain kind of people we are using its digital transaction to launder money or send money to a particular sponsored or so sponsored program. I think it was NSAT, if I'm permitted to say that, as of then. So that was why the whole banning and ban PR was going on about the blockchain. But if we are critical and telling ourselves the absolutely truth, it creates jobs, it gives the citizens the ability to decentralize their assets. It gives the citizens the ability to not just trade as in Nigeria, but also buy items from several other countries without, without stress, right? So right now, if you want to use your dollar account, there's a huge limitation. I don't even know if it is $72 per month for Nigerians. What do you buy with $72 per month if you want to perform international transaction? So you are limiting your citizens from the ability to be able to understand what is going on internationally, to be able to buy educational materials from every other people in the world, right? So it is not even an option. It's something that betters the economy, betters the citizen, creates value added tax for the government, and creates more jobs for the citizens of the country. I don't know. I can't even continue emphasizing on this, but I will just have to stop here right now on this particular question.
Wow. Oh, that's really awesome. So, thank you very much. I know a lot of people have learned. I've seen how you have been able to like break it down for even the policymakers to be able to understand that a lot of benefit for them in this. Like they need to understand how to just tap rather than just stopping a lot of things or striving innovation. Why not let's look at the part of how can this actually help adapting to things in this country advantage by the government and the public as a whole. So thank you very much for putting light into that. I'm very sure those watching from the aspect of positions of making policy or decision makers will be able to understand that this is what we are just calling for. Like, put a ground where this technology actually or really helps Nigeria and the economy. We should not wait until when the white man starts selling their product to us. Okay, so that's something that we should all be looking at. So please, for our viewers, I really want to thank you very much for taking our time and with your attention watching this broadcast is really important to us because your presence here shows that you have great please, wherever you're watching, I want to kindly just make your comments, ask your questions. I'm seeing questions coming in here, and we'll definitely attend that too. I believe Mr. Orji is already seen some of the questions. So please ensure you um, send your questions, make comments because it will help people to also love or follow the video and you can share some of the ideas you're already picking from what our speaker is saying. You can write it down on the comment section. Let us make comments or ask note you're already picking value. So you can pick one or two comments and just write it down from what you have learned today. Our sponsors are going to be giving out a lot of giveaways at the end of this entire program. So we want to see our active viewers. So kindly ensure you always join us for tomorrow. We're also going to be here with another speaker by 7, but we're having Mr. Orji dissecting this aspect of blockchain for us, and we can't thank him enough. Okay, so we're going to asking questions because we're also hitting our time mark here. So this is a question from the Samuel Ladeni. He said, I would like to ask, how does blockchain improve security against money laundering? Because I think that's one of the questions a lot of people want to ask. So, is there a way that blockchain actually improves security against money laundering? And if there is, then you can also explain that before we move ahead. So please, if you are watching, share your questions. I'm going to answer them, and I know it's going to really help you. So, Mr. Awoji, over to you.
I really like that question. I think that's one of the biggest questions that everybody is absolutely asking in terms of the blockchain technology. A lot of people are absolutely concerned about the money laundering system, and this is where the government comes in. That this is where the government plays the roles in blockchain technology, right? So you can't control what is not a legal tender in your country, right? You can't control it. So that's why there's a lot of cases of money laundering today, because government has absolutely no business about blockchain as long as Nigeria is concerned. That's Nigerian government, right? But when you adopt this as a part of a transactional system, I'm not saying you adopt it as your sole legal tender, but you're adopting blockchain as a part of your transactional system, then you can put some sort of rules and regulation in terms of the transactional system of blockchain technology in your country. That's how it works. It's extremely simple, right? The reason why you have a lot of money laundering going here and there because government said, my hands are not here. If we get you guys doing this, you are going to this, you're going to that for doing this, right? So there's no regulatory processes that is being put upon this. Now, what blockchain is saying, blockchain is not saying send your money, send my money, my hand no day. No, that's not what blockchain is saying. What blockchain is saying is the transaction A is doing and the transaction B is doing, the secret of the two transactions is between A and B, right? So what happens now as a government is that yes, I know that the conversation you're having with A and B should be secret, but there are rules at which this conversation will have to pass through. That's the simple way to eliminate money laundering, right? If you create a sort of rules for your transactional system in a country, if you create a sort of rules, like take for an example, I know for some of you that uses the blockchain crypto system, you agree with me that probably if you want to buy a coin and somehow you end up putting a remark like the way you put a comment in your transaction, somehow your your bank account might get bad or something. You might not be able to prove it with beyond any reasonable doubt that you're not trying to use that for for crypto transaction. So what am I trying to say? Such kind of rules can be used, right, to govern the transactional process of the blockchain technology. But the government are not even sitting down to regulate and create such kind of rules, right? The interest for the government is let it not even exist. But it exists. You can't just you can't do nothing about its existence. It exists. What you can do as a system is creating a sort of technology, right? A sort of, I don't want to go into the technicalities, but you can create a sort of rules, a sort of technology that govern the level of transaction that goes into the blockchain ecosystem in a particular geographical location, in this case in Nigeria. You can govern the level of transaction that goes in, the level of processes that goes in. Whosoever is found guilty on those regulations will be sanctioned. That's all. It eliminates, of course, even with the traditional money, the traditional system of transaction, which is the fintech, the decentralized system of transaction, right? There are still money laundering. You agree with me on that? There are still money laundering that goes on underneath it, right? But there's a regulatory system that makes people know that if you launder this process or if you abuse this process, you are going to be sanctioned. And these are the sanctions for that. That same regulatory system can go through the transactional process of blockchain. But like I said, we are still here hoping that miracle happens tomorrow. I will have a system where it is for the people and not for a particular group of individuals.
All right. Thank you very much for that explanation. I believe Mr. Samuel, you have been able to get answers from that government working with local exchanges to ensure that this is are put in place so that if there's any flag, they should be able to trace it. Just like we already have applications like cryptocurrency investigators. You can become an investigator, learn how to track stolen funds, and see how you can such account holders. So there are several ways that companies have started researching and making sure that fraudulent activities are being tracked and stopped. So government should be able to work on policy and work with local exchanges to ensure that these things work effectively. So we have two questions here from Aaron Dambo. Um, you know, how does the common man access blockchain to conduct their transactions? What are the steps you recommend for common man willing to propagate blockchain? Then the second one is, uh, I think he's talking about blockchain is not totally safe for transaction. Is it true that blockchain can be hacked? Is it blockchain that can be hacked, or is there something that happens when we say that the blockchain is hacked? So, and these are the two questions. I believe you can be able to read them and the screen also. So these are that's the first question. You're talking about how can the common man like access the blockchain? Is there interfaces that people can company or access that transaction? So maybe your answer is questions, as I believe you can see the two questions there.
Okay, let me just start with the first question. Maybe when I'm done, I'll just ask you to rephrase the second question for me. So, how can a common man access the blockchain, right? Like I said, sorry, I lost my network. I don't know if you can hear me now, Mr. Jaffet.
Yes, so we can hear you now. Can hear you now.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, like I was saying, right, people had people had a complicated definition of blockchain from the beginning. So it now makes it look like a very advanced subject for people to talk about. It makes it look like a very you have to be super intelligent for you to understand what blockchain is. So, from my own answer to this simple question is you if you want to access blockchain, right, in terms of understanding it and growing through it, right, you have to just see blockchain. That's why I'll be using the word transaction all through this. I don't want to speak a lot of technical jargons that might be too difficult for anybody to comprehend. See it as a transactional process. First and foremost, see it as a block of transactional, a communication process, right? Initially, I would have liked to go more technical by saying there's something called Web 2 and Web 3. Now, the whole idea of Web 3 is built upon blockchain. The whole idea of the web entirely is for transaction, it's for communication, right? The whole idea we build the web is because we want the person staying in a in Abuja to be able to communicate with another person staying in Lagos, to be able to communicate with another person staying in Kaduna, in Katsina, or wherever you are in the world. That's the whole idea of web, right? The website. That's the whole idea of creating a website, right? So we had this website that is in the traditional way of communication and transaction, which is Web 2. But we now have another one called Web 3, which is what blockchain is being built upon. And what we are saying, the whole essence, there's no big differences from what you see from the Web 2. But what we are saying here is that you now have additional leverages to your communication system. You now have additional leverages in your transaction system. So it's not really a big language or a big communication, a big technology that has so many complications. No, If you understand these basics, that is just an additional leverages on your transactional process, additional leverages on your communication process, and you understand that, oh, there is also digital assets that you could use to perform those transactions in this system. In Web 2, we don't transact with digital assets, but in Web 3, we are transacting with digital assets. So you start seeing it from that angle. In Web 2, we don't buy or own a signed digital. Take for an example, if I have a picture, I can upload that picture in NFT and it become a signed copy of my picture. So what blockchain is telling you is that that land that you own in real life, you can own it in the blockchain industry. So you're saying that some of the things that are not in Web3, we want to bring them into existence. Some of the things that are not in Web2, we want to bring them into existence in Web3, like having the ability to own an asset digitally on the website, having the ability to own a land digitally on the website, having the ability to be able to have a secure connection, a secure transaction between two parties where both of you agree on things and without any third party encryption method. We introduce it in Web3. So we are saying there are new technologies that have been introduced in Web3, and that is just blockchain. So blockchain is not a complicated word. It's just saying that those things that are not in Web2, we are bringing them in Web3 for you to leverage on and make your life much more better. That is why people sell their portraits on NFT. I think I was discussing with Jaffe sometimes. I said they will get to a time where people will have lands on the internet. People will own lands on the internet. That is why you need to bring yourself up to date on what is happening. People will own lands on the internet and start selling land. You owe a land in Otukpo and you sell it to somebody on the internet. So that is what the internet is trying to say, that the world you are living off the internet. We want to bring everything on the internet. I don't know if that's an amazing thing because it also has its disadvantage in terms of relationship with human to human, right? But that's simple. That's simply blockchain. Blockchain is telling you that whatever doesn't exist right now in Web 2, we are bringing it to Web 3. So you take your time and you learn it process by process. You learn how the digital currency of blockchain works, understand it. You move to how the NFT aspect of blockchain work, you understand it. You move to how the ledger system of blockchain works, you understand it. And you start asking yourself, that's why I said when I said I love curiosity. You start asking yourself questions that, okay, I cannot find this thing in Web 2. Is it in Web 3? When I say Web 3, I mean blockchain. Is it in Web 3? Okay, I'll go and do my research and see how this particular thing that is not available in Web 2 works in Web 3. So gradually, you now understand how blockchain works. Like I said, blockchain is not a trading or Ponzi scheme. That is how a lot of people sold it from the beginning. It's just an advancement on how the internet works. It's just an additional creation of activities, assets, and functionalities for you to be able to do more with the assets you have on the internet. I just hope I was able to answer this question.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Audi, for that wonderful answer. I believe Mr. Aaron Dambu has gotten answers to that. Really want to appreciate you, this 1 hour at thought, and we're supposed to actually finish in 1 hour. So thank you very much, Mr. Audi. We want to really appreciate you. We want to appreciate all the viewers from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It has been awesome having you guys watch that. I know some people watch it after watching. Some of them are watching their mind or the format. I know a lot of people will still come back to watch a recap of this video. So you can go back and watch the social media handles that we have shared. And well, Mr. Oji is always readily available to answer your questions. You can follow him up on Twitter and Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social handles. He will also share the social media handles on comment section on the live stream so that everyone can follow and probably will ask, so this is just the first part, possibly this year. Blockchain for All might have two series. That's the first quarter and second quarter of the year, so that we'll be able to actually, because we have getting a lot of questions, why don't we do the series like twice a year? So okay, we have a lot of speakers in line for this first series. We have more than 30 speakers lined up. So we want to really appreciate you, Mr. Orji, for this wonderful time you have
Thank
actually
you.
shared this knowledge with us.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Aaron is saying he really loved the way you answered my question. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
That's from
you.
Mr. Aaron. So thank you very much, Mr. Aaron, and every person that have been watching from the beginning to this very moment. Really appreciate, because you are here, it means what we are doing is actually accepted and is valid. So thank you very much, Mr. Audrey. We just hope that our next series most probably on a bigger or platform and on a bigger topic. I know because the entire series discuss. So by tomorrow by 7 p.m. again, we'll be here with a wonderful speaker. He's a teacher of teachers. I call him teacher of teachers too. So he'll be here to also share his knowledge about blockchain and how he has been using that. So thank you, Mr. Oji. We can't thank you enough. Really, you have been here with us for blockchain series, and we know you have given value, and we are very
Okay.
sure that within the shortest period of time, you are going to see results from some of the viewers. We can actually come to the page and actually share that we can be able to reach this, and this, and this is the result we are getting. We can't wait to see. He's working on a lot of products, but I'm very sure our next series you also tell us some of the products. But maybe if there's anyone now, before you go back for a final note, you might share one or two of the projects you are working on so that our viewers can understand what's happening there. Like we have said, we want to appreciate once more our sponsors, Benny House Limited, Hunter Limited, Hebron Academy. These are key headline sponsors, and other sponsors that have been pushing in their support to see how everything works smoothly. As you have seen, we have improved on the quality of the presentation we are having so that every speaker will be able to share this to also his viewers. And just interesting to know that this is the first day we have all these speakers coming in, and we are very sure if you keep in touch with us every 7 p.m. from now to most probably end of next month, you will keep getting value. And at the end of relation is simple as you said. If what you know doesn't give you the results you want, that means what you know is just an illusion of knowledge. That means it's not really valid. And we want to make sure that after going through this series of learning, we should be able to get results from it. So crypto traders are coming to teach you how the concept of trading, mindset coach are coming to you how to better mindset. We're having investor, we're having venture capitalists coming in to even tell you how you'll be able to get investment for your businesses. So several of them are coming up. This year is just going to be mind blowing. And thank you, Mr. Oji, for giving us this first energy because it's really important. I've said he's the energy man. So I want to appreciate you for activating blockchain for all and everyone. Welcome to blockchain 2023. This is our opening ceremony with Mr. Orji Joseph, and I believe that thank you very much. And let's keep it the day tomorrow by 7 p.m. as we
Thank
come up
you.
with another. Thank you, Mr. Oji. If there's any last
Thank you.
final note, please, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for hosting me. It's always my pleasure to be here to share knowledge with people, especially Nigerians. It's absolutely important to me, right? So, silver and gold, I don't know how to give, right? So, the little I have, I always want to share. So, it's always my pleasure, okay? And I'm sure this year is going to be wonderful, like it was last year. And all I can just urge people is to also try and make it a date on a daily basis. Till this program runs out. It's absolutely full packed with a lot of amazing people to share a lot of important knowledge with you. One more time, Mr. Jaffe, thank you for holding me, for hosting me, and you all can follow me on all my social network platform. And I think it's been shared on the screen, if I'm not mistaken. I'm always available. You can always send me a DM as much as I can. I will try as much as possible to reply. I'm also open for mentorship if you really need a mentor. I'm always there, and I appreciate, right? I appreciate this platform. God bless you, Mr. Jaffe. Thank you for hosting.
So thank you very much, Mr. Orji. We really appreciate. So everyone, do have a wonderful night rest, and I hope your team wins this game. Who is playing? Let's go and enjoy ourselves and rest and prepare for tomorrow. So thank you once more, and do have a wonderful night rest.
Thank you. Thank you.